Welcome to the Solid Verbal. The Solid Verbal.
Come after me! I'm a man! I'm 40!
I've heard so many players say, well, I want to be happy. You want to be happy for a day? Eat a steak.
It's that woo-woo!
And now, Dan and Ty.
Welcome back to the Solid Verbal, boys and girls. My name is Ty Hildebrand. I am joined, as always, by my good friend and colleague and co-host of many years. And tonight, with me in spirit, his name is Dan Rubenstein. And apparently, he went to Mexico City. I do not believe he took his USB microphone with him. If he did, he didn't tell me, which means that he will not be part of the podcast this evening, at least not for the next couple minutes or so. Hopefully, we can team back up next week because it's National Signing Day, and we got to talk about that. And Brent Musburger retired and maybe getting into sports handicapping. And Tommy/Tom Rees is returning to Notre Dame, which means that Reesus is returning to Earth in 2017. Lord knows we've got a lot to discuss in a week or so. We are staring down the barrel of a loaded show. Don't forget, we will be posting once a week all throughout the offseason. If you're just tuning in, you can subscribe to all our shows at itunes.com/solidverbal. As for tonight, we're going to play back an interview we did with Amin from ESPN. He was down in Tampa for the national championship. So we invited him to stop by the booth, do something normal like commentate a game of Tecmo Super Bowl with us that we could post to Facebook. He could not have been any more willing to be part of that. Not only that, but he hung around for like another 45 minutes or so. He let Dan and I ask a bunch of weird and probing questions about his life and career and, his innermost thoughts. He could not have been more gracious with his time. And it really was a pleasure to get to know a little bit more about him. If you're not familiar with Adam Amin's work, my hunch is that you will be. He is a play-by-play guy for ESPN. We know him in the college football world because he called college football with Mac Brown, but he also does the NFL, basketball, baseball, you name it. He's a super talented guy. He's on his way up. Great sense of humor. Also a secret verbal survivor from last season, which is certainly notable here on the show. We had a ton of fun getting to know Adam a little better. I suspect you will too. Have a listen. All right, so we are joined by the great Adam Amin.
Man, you give him really good introductions.
Well, he deserves it.
Amin.
Yeah, that's true.
He deserves it.
That's the first. An up-and-coming play caller.
He's made it.
Booth, play-by-play guy. We just did play-by-play.
True.
That was a blast, by the way.
Tecmo Super Verbal.
The verbal.
The Tecmo Super Verbal.
Oregon, Notre Dame, ugly.
Blowout
game.
Blowout City. 35-10 final.
It was not pretty. I did not need that punctuation on the Oregon season. I didn't. I'm going to tell you, for my emotional well-being, I'm not in a good place. But you are here in Tampa because he's waving at everybody. Audio Avenue.
I just like waving at people. Is there anything wrong with that?
Just a friendly guy, Dan.
I'm so happy. I'm so happy to be here. Honestly, I ran into our good buddy Nicole Auerbach last night.
Yeah, she's around.
And a bunch of the writers that I follow and admire very greatly. And I told them, I was like, I'm surrounded by people I like, people I love, and people I admire. And it's like, it's my first time being in an event like this.
Oh, it's a great time.
I've never done it.
This is sort of secretly, it's college football media prom. Without
the awkward dancing at the end of the night?
Not a lot of awkward dancing. Some, if you've seen Andy Staples around.
Okay.
But no weird dancing, no weird dresses or suits, awkward fitting. It's just a good time. Maybe it's like a convention. I don't know. It's a good time.
There are some weird suits.
There are.
Don't sell it short. There are some.
I don't name names.
Some
Questionably
weird
dressed
fashion
people.
decisions going on here.
Let's wait. Can they? Okay, so let's paint a quick picture for the folks real quick. And we're leaning in. And we're at a table together, and we're all leaning in. And to our immediate right, there are some interesting pants.
Those John Daly loudmouth pants.
Pink. It's like the Pink Ranger.
Yeah.
Like made her Power Ranger suit into pants.
It's like a gumball machine came to life and threw up everywhere. That's what it looks like.
I think that's fairly accurate.
Taste the rainbow.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. So you're here, and Monday night during the game, you will be on the field.
Yes.
With Taj Boyd.
Yep.
Clemson, great quarterback. Barrett Jones, All-American center, former center for Alabama, and Joe Tess.
The great Joe Tess. He's the great Joe Tess. I feel
The
like
great Joe Tess. So what will that function be? You don't usually call a game from a field.
No, of course not. And it's a new concept in the last couple of years. And we've seen this kind of bleed over into other sports now. And we've kind of dubbed it as a crew as the HomerCast.
Yes.
Just because it seems catchy, but it's part of the megacast that we've now done for 3 years. Yeah, 3 or 4 years now at this point. And the megacast has been a huge hit the last several years. And we keep adding things and coming up with different ideas. And a couple of years ago, they said, let's get some people from these programs that are former players and guys that have some semblance of an idea of how to analyze games. And Taj and Barrett are very sharp guys who know what they're doing and know what they're talking about. So we figured let's get their take. Let's have their perspective, their Homer perspective on these teams and see what we can do and put it all together. So now all 4 of us are going to be on the field and we're quasi calling the game. And
will you be moving?
We'll be moving like through up and down the sidelines.
Okay.
We'll go behind the end zone. Basically, it's a free for all, and in the best way possible because we're not confined to the rules, the typical rules of television. So it'll be really fun. We have a skeleton, but we get to kind of fill in the muscle like however we want to.
So it's not a conventional broadcast as you're accustomed to doing. How do you prepare for something like this as opposed to what you normally do?
It's more streamlined, and a lot of it is just going to be leaning on Barrett and Taj and their perspectives, and we really want to see their emotion of it when Clemson scores. I want to see Taj Boyd react excitedly. I want to see him get pumped for it.
Should mention it's Alabama if Clemson scores.
That's right. Yeah.
We just have to. And we will be airing this probably after the game, right, Ty? Is that correct? But it is cool to hear. So when you listen back, if Adam Amin gets run over by Bo Scarborough, this will be the last audio.
This will be the last time
before the
anybody ever hears me on a podcast.
Yeah, fair enough.
Which, by the way, that's not out of the realm of possibility that Bo Scarborough literally just runs me over.
Here's my request. I don't ask for much, but it feels like because it's so first person, you're on the sideline, you're so close to the action. The sport that really has that much more so than football is basketball.
Yeah.
I want you to drop, you don't have to do more than one. I want one mixtape scream. I just want like an, oh baby. That's all I want. You can call anybody you want, hot sauce, or, Barrett Jones, an accomplished student, right? He had like a 4.0 at Alabama.
Absolutely, yeah.
You can call him the professor. You can just make...
I'll happily drop that down.
See, that was a Brent Musburger thing. He would come up with a
professor.
He would come up with
That's true.
He would come up with a pet nickname,
right?
For like Major Applewhite was the major.
Yeah.
Darren Sproles, right? He was the little tank. Mm-hmm. So this is something perhaps to add.
This is an opportunity.
This is a big opportunity for me, I think, on Monday night.
So, I just want add one, whatever, with his name, to come up with just on-the-fly catchphrase. Like, listen, will you get fired from ESPN for ad-libbing too much? Maybe. But this is your legacy.
This is the mark that I wanted to leave. And then Bo Scarborough will run me over.
He will run you over. He will run you over.
Social media superstardom. I think if Scarborough runs you over.
Oh, Bo Scarborough is? Oh, if he runs over.
If he runs him over.
That's true. You increase your Q. Q rating.
Q rating.
Your quotient. Still, absolutely.
What's that thing on Twitter? Like the Klout.
Oh, Klout score.
Your Klout score is gonna be like 400.
Absolutely. I'm gonna pump that thing up at least 4 points.
Absolutely, you will. So
I think I'm at like a 48 right now. Let's see if we can jump over 50.
Even Klout doesn't know how the Klout score works. But
I've met 2 people. I have 2 friends now who have been run over on a football sideline, and both of them ended up like Sports Nation. They end up on all these shows,
of course.
So,
well, here's our story.
What do you have?
So we met for the first time about 2 years after we did the show.
That's true.
And we had a connection at the time, early days. We were on the field for Texas against Nebraska.
2009?
2009-ish, 10. Yeah. We're standing in the end zone. And
have you called a game in Nebraska?
Oh, gosh. Yeah, I love it.
Okay, so you'll understand this then.
So somebody kicks off. I think it was Texas. And whoever the kicker was beams one through the end zone. And it's coming right at me.
Oh, it's hot. It's coming in hot.
Yeah.
This was the first game I had been to, at least on the sidelines in the end zone.
Okay.
So I'm sitting, I'm like, what's the move? Do you try to catch the ball? Am I going to get kicked out if I catch the ball? The guy next to me, who I later learned had been doing the kicking nets for like 40 years, decides he's going to reach out, one-hands it, goes out, takes a step out, holds it up, gets the entire round of applause from Memorial Stadium. I found out after the fact that this was like the moment in his life. He wants this on his tombstone. I didn't know what to do. I was terrified.
It should be noted, there's about 4.5 feet between the back of the end zone and the wall in Lincoln. There's not a lot of room. So, like, we legitimately could have been run over by somebody in that game.
So my point is that was my moment to maybe shine, and I faltered. So don't be like me if you have the opportunity.
So you're telling me, like,
Take
if
chances.
that moment comes, embrace it. Wrap your arms around it and never let go of it.
Will you have your hands free? Is it just a headset situation?
No, we're gonna have stick mics.
Oh, you will have
so
stick mics.
We're gonna be because we've got to be able to run around and go down
True.
the sidelines and all that stuff. So
True.
we're gonna have stick mics.
Okay.
We've got stick mics now. Should we throw
Like,
objects
throw
at
things
him
at him? Let's throw him a cup of water.
Pies.
Is there...
Wait, nobody got that reference? Okay, that's okay. That's fine.
Will there be a
Closet organizer from Saturday Night Live? Okay, that's fine.
I haven't watched Saturday Night Live recently. Is that recent?
I think it was like 5 years ago.
Oh.
It's when Will Forte was still on it. So,
Oh, okay.
So it's like a decent chunk of time at this point. John Hamm was the guest host.
Okay.
It sounds familiar. I'm not going to pretend like I
Listen,
understand the
it's okay.
reference.
I mean, I'm not like we're not all going to hit 100%. We're not gonna shoot 100%.
Absolutely not. Is there a cherry picker that anybody in the broadcast will be involved with that's running along the sideline? Because that's what I would ask for.
Are you hoping that we get run over?
No, I'm hoping that, like, instead of tossing it down to the field, you toss it up to somebody in the picker. That's what I want.
Great view from up here, guys. I don't think we have access to that, unfortunately.
Okay, so you are,
or I might just get up on like Barrett's shoulders.
Smart.
That could work.
Smart.
That might be the best way to go about it.
You are in Chicago.
Yes.
So you're sort of removed from the greater ESPN galaxy. Everybody seems to be in Bristol, LA.
Yeah.
A lot of people in the South to sort of get to games.
Yeah, a lot of Charlotte folks, and it's fun to come to one of these. Like I said, it's my first time coming to one of these. I think it's so cool because I'm looking around like, what are we at? Audio Avenue, they're calling it. Like, I'm looking around. I know like 5 people that I've worked with or have a relationship with, and it's great. It's so cool to be a part of this. And you don't get to see all the other play-by-play announcers or all the other analysts or the reporters or people that you've worked with in the past you don't necessarily work with on a consistent basis now. And we're all in the same room. We're all in the same town. We're covering the same game. And it's such a rarity, and it's really fun. Last night we go to ESPN has some kind of party, which, they're like, oh, you're going to that party. This is how not famous I am.
Okay.
Like, if you're Carey Champion, you're getting like an invite to everything.
Sure.
In Tampa, like everybody wants you to come to
We have not invited Carey Champion on the Solid Verbal, just to be clear.
Okay, well, see, and this is why I'm happy to be here, because it makes me feel like
You're a somebody.
I'm a somebody today. Yeah. But like, they want Carey, they don't want me. So everybody's like, you're going to this party, right? You're going to this party. I'm like, no, like I'm not that guy. And then like an hour before this thing is supposed to happen, somebody's like, hey, you have to go to this thing. Like, it's an ESPN thing. They want you to go. You should go. And I'm like, well, thanks for telling me. I'm literally wearing like jeans and a t-shirt, and like, can I put on a sweater? Can I look somewhat presentable at some point? So we show up, we get to the blue carpet, because I think Allstate was sponsoring it. So it's a blue carpet rather than a red carpet. And one of the PR guys, our buddy Derek, goes, hey, you want to walk the blue carpet? We want you to walk it. And I'm like,
sure.
You're joking, right?
Uh-huh.
You're kidding.
Yeah, open up your jacket pockets. Yeah,
There's nobody cares.
Uh-huh.
Like, I walked in with Mac and Mac's wife, and I'm like, Mac can do it, because they want Mac. They want to talk to Mac. They want to see Sally. They want to take a nice photo. That's all good. They don't want me.
Who are you wearing? Gildan.
Well, it's Gildan.
Gildan.
Yeah, let's not. Let's not.
Do not be smirched.
Defending all the corporate sponsors.
I called the bowl. I have to know it now.
Yeah, that would make sense.
But like, somebody, they're saying, no, you can do it. You go. They want you to walk the blue carpet, and somebody's like writing my name down. Like, they have like nameplates for everybody. So somebody walks behind you and says, "This is." Like, the nameplate says who you are. They don't have a nameplate. Somebody's Sharpieing my name down, and they spelled my last name incorrectly.
And
I'm like,
Adnan Verk.
They're like, Anish Shroff?
Anish Shroff.
Kevin Nagani? So I'm like, Derek, nobody, like, this person doesn't know who I am because they're spelling my name wrong, and I don't blame them for it.
That's cool.
There's no reason for them to know who I am, so nobody should like care if I walk the blue carpet. And Derek's like, yeah, you're good. Yeah, you can go ahead. I'm like,
same page.
Sold.
Same page.
Sold.
Okay.
How was the party?
It was really cool. It was cool to be in the room with all these people and hang out for a little bit. And you get to meet some of the ESPN people that you watch, but maybe you've never worked with. Like, met Jamel Hill last night. Got to talk to her for a little bit. Met John Butchergross. Like, those are cool people to hang out with and talk to for a couple minutes at a time. And
how many people at that party? And this is going to be very important to Ty for mathematical purposes. How many gentlemen at the party wore suits with sneakers.
Oh,
The ESPN
I
uniform.
I can't even begin.
There are not enough digits.
No, like it would take everybody's fingers and toes in here.
we have a secret histogram where we're plotting all of these suit and sneaker combinations that we're seeing down here in Tampa.
It's a lot.
It is robust.
It's a significant.
It's robust.
amount.
Did you go suit and sneaker?
No, because I didn't have I literally showed up in like jeans,
Okay.
and a sweater.
Good.
And I was like, all right,
Man of the people.
I'm casual guy here.
I like that. What's the eating plan here in Tampa?
All the food, I think, is what I'm gunning for.
Sure.
Just all the food.
I would recommend Colombia for Cuban food.
Oh, where did you go? Because you went twice to get
we
Cuban
went
food?
twice
Cuban,
to get
yeah.
Cuban food. We
Yeah.
went to Colombia, which I think is the superior option.
Okay.
It's like, a 10-minute Uber from
Yeah.
where we're sitting right now.
Yeah.
And it's been around since like early 20th century.
Wow.
And they come around, they hand you just a hot loaf of Cuban bread when you sit down. And you feel
sounds
terrible
awesome.
eating it, but you feel wonderful at the same time.
Yeah, all the waiters have tuxes on. It's a very authentic experience.
Yeah. It's a very old school experience. Would recommend Colombia.
That sounds delightful. I know, and I've done all like the steakhouses and stuff. And,
Right.
I mean,
You can do
typical-
steakhouses
that
anywhere. Yeah.
You want something that has some
think you want
distinct flavor
Cuban.
to it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's a great.
Andy
great call by
Staples
you.
ate a donut burger, which I can't recommend in good
No.
conscience.
Why? So you're not a fan of the donut burger?
I like donuts. I like burgers.
And you don't like-
who
you
are
don't
you
wanna combine
trying
the
to
two?
impress? What are you trying to prove by doing that? Have you had one?
I don't think you have to try to impress. Yeah, I've had that. And it's good. It's just a mix of sweet or like savory and sweet
don't know.
or salty and sweet. I mean,
I feel like nobody eats a good hamburger bun and thinks, but what if we did more? What if we glazed this?
well, remember like the double down?
I do remember that.
And like, so who was like, you know
Well-
what we should do?
Yeah, was that
Let's
Patton
make
Oswalt?
chicken into bread.
There was the KFC double down. There was the bowl, the famous bowl. Is that what it was called?
Oh, that
yeah.
Patton Oswalt bit
The,
where
the,
he's just
the sadness pile,
Yeah, yeah.
failure
Yes.
bowl or something
Yeah,
like
the
that.
sadness, bowl of
Yeah.
salt and sadness or
See,
something.
that's to me is too much. When you start making it a gimmick, like fried chicken's pretty good as is.
So where do you stand then on the Doritos Locos tacos?
Oh, and again, I love those.
Is it
personally.
great?
I like the Cooler Ranch ones, but you know what you have to do.
Okay.
This is a good like rule of thumb.
Mm-hmm.
Have to add sour cream
Why is that?
because just like the Taco Bell taco it's fine, but I would go supreme to add the tomatoes and the sour cream because for whatever reason it goes really well with the Doritos.
I was gonna say,
Like,
it feels
crunchy
like it's
shell.
so seasoned. You need something to cut that heavy seasoning, and the sour cream might do a good
That's
job.
that's
of
actually a big reason why.
Okay.
I'm not normally a fan of the novelty type stuff. I feel like I would try that. I feel like I would
Doritos
try that
Locos
because
tacos?
that literally rescued Taco Bell from
yeah.
going the way of the dinosaur.
Oh, and then they're like, now let's do breakfast, and everybody loves the Taco Bell breakfast.
They have like
And-
that weird egg tortilla octagon. I don't know what it's called.
Oh, the breakfast.
Oh,
crunch
the Crunch Wrap,
Yeah,
breakfast
yeah, absolutely. When the Crunch Wrap came out, I was in high school, and I thought it was God's gift.
Really?
To us. Like I was so happy.
Okay.
Because there was a Taco Bell right by our high school, so we'd go to like volleyball practice, basketball practice. We'd get done, immediately go to Taco Bell because. At 17, 18 years old, your metabolism is such that you can
you're a wood chipper.
you can pound
Yeah.
like 3 of those, and nobody would be the wiser because you're not going to change it all.
We used to
I'm
play-
30 now, and I can't ever
It
do
slows
that again.
down. I am
I
33.
can feel it slowing.
Yeah. We used to get Taco Bell before playing like street football in high school. Like after school, we would drive through Taco Bell.
You'd eat the
it,
Taco Bell.
Eat like the Mountain Dew Baja Blast, whatever it is.
yeah, which
The
also I
disgusting-
love.
It's terrific. I would pound, 2 or 3 double-decker tacos before playing football. Always a mistake, always great. Always just wonderful.
What was your like tremendously awful decision when it came to fast food?
I don't know if Applebee's is considered fast food.
No, give me something that has a drive-through.
Yeah, it's got it. Yeah, that's a requirement.
Yeah.
Has to have a drive-through.
Up at Penn State
Yeah.
in college, they would offer this deal at the local McDonald's where you could get 5 cheeseburgers and a basket of fries for $6.
Wow.
5 cheeseburgers.
5 like regulation size cheeseburgers.
Yeah, I
not
mean,
the
they're like
double-decker.
$1 now, I think.
5 cheeseburgers and a full basket of fries.
even know
But this is
McDonald's
for
served
$6.
that.
This might have been like the pre-dollar
Yeah,
menu,
that's
though.
true.
Yeah.
That's true. Ty is
These-
quite old.
These were early days. So this
Many
would-
moons ago.
Right, thank you. This would be a thing after a long night of whatever.
Yep.
Friday, Saturday night. Anyone want to go to McDonald's and pick up a couple of these 5 cheeseburger basket
yeah.
of fries deals? I can't tell you how many of those I ate on my own.
Wouldn't be able to tell, by the way.
That's true.
Svelte physique.
Very
for Ty.
svelte.
First time in person getting.
I
to see
prefer
it.
chiseled. we can go
2016, he dipped on the carbs. He dipped on the
Yeah.
carbs and it made a difference.
Nobody looks at me and is like, "Oh, you've never been fat before." But I don't know what it is about my body. It puts fat in very odd places.
I'm with you.
I am a tremendously odd-shaped person.
Fair.
Like
Fair.
I've got fitted for a suit the other day. My buddy's getting married, and I had to go get fitted for the groomsman suit. And the guys are like, "You know what you are? You're a triangle." And I'm like, "What is
Wow,
what?
that's rough.
What?"
It's not
He's
as
like-
bad as being called a rhombus, but yeah.
yeah. At least like the sides are equal, I guess. But like he's like, you have broad shoulders and you have you have no hips and no butt. So buying jeans and pants is impossible for you. And I'm like, wow, you really
You've
known
known
me
it.
for 7 minutes and you
He
have
wants to sell you a suit.
You ripped me apart physically.
You have commitment issues.
I'm like, yes,
So now
you have a low level of self-esteem.
Dan is getting married.
I am getting married.
That's right.
In Chicago.
The fiance, I remember,
Yeah,
was
the
yelling
solid
about
fiance.
when you and I talked about milkshakes.
Yes.
the first time around, I remember you talking on the podcast about the fiance yelling about the Cubs Indians game.
Yeah, this is true. This is 100% true.
He has yet to get his suit.
That's true.
When's the wedding?
Late May. I have time.
Oh no,
He's
you have
got-
time. He has
yeah.
time.
Do you have any advice for him?
Oh,
As you
yeah.
look, just looking at his frame,
I'll stand up
Is he
here.
gonna
what
stand
kind
up
of
for me?
suggestions would Adam Amin have?
half.
You literally could buy off the rack and you're fine.
Yeah.
You are.
I think I'm all right.
You are the most commonly shaped human being I think ever. Yes. Other than being like a couple of inches taller than average height, or like what's average male height now? 5'9", 5'10"?
I believe 5'9"
Yeah.
is considered
5'9".
average.
Okay, so
Somewhere
you're
in there.
taller than average,
Yeah.
but you could buy off the rack and you'd be golden.
I think I'll be all
I
right.
can never buy off the rack.
I'm sorry. To hear.
Or if I do, I have to get it tailored a million
What
ways.
color
for
did you
Sunday.
go with, suit-wise?
For the
upcoming wedding?
The wedding, it's just basic black. Very
Okay.
simple, traditional black. I got
Easy.
fitted for a different suit the other day. It's like royal blue.
See, I'm going with a darker navy type situation.
So I'm like tomorrow. Like I'm gonna wear like navy on Monday, but I'm showing Dan this suit. This is like the weirdest. Like that's like
wow.
That's like Veruca Salt eating
that
a
is-
blueberry
Yeah.
and like ballooning up.
And you can
style
really
color.
see his weird body in that shot.
I have a very odd body. Look at this. Like I think you can actually see like an Illuminati triangle.
and he's not at all like big. Like it's not a chunk thing. It's just a layout thing. It's
Yeah.
like walking into a living room and you're like, the couch is where? That's what it is. If I'm going to paint the picture for our listeners.
I think you did a fabulous job in doing
Yeah,
so.
thank you. By the way,
it's just odd.
I have a lot of fast food thoughts, and I know you feel passionately about this. One, have you done Jack in the Box tacos?
No.
It doesn't sound like they should have tacos, but they do because everything is on their menu.
You've talked about this
They're
before.
excellent. They're terrible. All at the same time. They're like grease sleeves. You don't
Okay.
know what kind of meat is there, but it's wonderful.
Okay.
Also, I've done 10 McDonald's cheeseburgers in a sitting, just to jump in.
Whoa.
Yeah. And I've done 10 or 12. It's 2 for $1, Jack in the Box, by the way.
The two tacos.
The 2 tacos for $1. You should try it and independently come up with your own conclusion.
Okay.
But they're very weird and good, though.
I will do the Jack in the Box.
Yeah.
I think the most cheeseburgers I've eaten in one sitting, and the dollar
Yeah,
menu
that's the real
cheeseburgers at
small.
McDonald's, I would say probably 4.5,
Yeah.
like 4 or 5.
It's reasonable.
Yeah. But 10 is a
10 is.
That's
It was
impressive,
college. We had like an eating competition. It was 8 or 10.
How'd that go afterwards?
We did weird stuff. We did Jack in the Box tacos. We did McDonald's cheeseburgers. We did water, which is actually super bad for you.
No,
Water?
apparently the water. Like
You can get
I've
water
heard people
poisoning.
who have died
Yeah.
from doing the water.
No, that was the
challenge,
most-
a gallon of water. Yeah.
That was uncomfortable. I had 2 roommates that did the milk challenge. Ended very poorly.
Always ends the same, too.
Well, no, it ended
Somehow.
2 different ways.
Oh, there's multiple.
There are multiple
Choose your
ways.
own adventure.
So
Ty.
I wasn't involved in the milk challenge, but one entrant just stopped before the gallon and felt horrible for like 3 days. Like his body was just a fish tank of slushing milk.
Oh man.
The other one,
just lumbering around trying to maneuver like a human being is impossible.
The other one completed the gallon, but then looked like a boxer and like who's the fight should be called, and he's just sort of woozy, and you see him just like rearing back, and like 3 minutes after, produced something just in the vomiting realm that was.
Man. It could not.
It was
have been
not great, and it
created
got
by a
on my
human being.
comforter in my dorm room. It
Okay.
was just a nightmare. So don't do that.
Okay.
Could not have been created by a human being whatsoever.
Tonight's show is brought to you by our good friends over at Blue Apron. You've heard us talk about Blue Apron before. It's a great service that delivers all the ingredients you need to make a delicious feast. They send it right to your front door. They can deliver to 99% of the United States. Why even go to the supermarket? You can get everything you need with the click of a button, and it tastes amazing. Here are some of your menu options for January. How about some spicy shrimp and Korean rice cakes with cabbage and furikake? Or pork chops and garlic piccata with scallion rice and spinach? Or mushroom and chipotle pepper enchiladas with lime sour cream? Wow. Check it all out and get your first 3 meals for free with free shipping by going to blueapron.com/solid. That's blueapron.com/solid. You will love how good it feels and tastes to create incredible home-cooked meals with Blue Apron. So please do not wait. blueapron.com/solid. Blue Apron is a better way to cook. We're also brought to you by our good friends over at Texture. This time of year, everyone's traveling, going on vacation. My own co-host, he's away. There's no way you're going to cram all the magazines you want to read into that carry-on bag. Now you can with Texture. It's a new app. It gives you unlimited access to over 200 magazines. They have gone so far above and beyond delivering just a magazine in digital form. They've made it easy to find and enjoy all the articles you want to read. They give you daily recommendations, exclusive interactive features, videos, much, much more. It's searchable, and you can mark what you like. You can check out back issues, view all kinds of bonus video content. They even curate articles and magazines just for you, or whoever you're giving Texture to this year. Why on earth would you subscribe to a paper magazine or to just a couple of magazines when you can have all the best ones on your smartphone or tablet all the time? And it costs a lot less. Right now, you can try it for free for 14 days when you go to texture.com/solid. That's a 14-day free trial of Texture when you go to texture.com/solid. texture.com/solid.
So you also tweeted something, I don't know, a few weeks ago at this point.
Yeah.
Which I thought was underrated, one of my favorite tweets of the year. Not because it was just like worded in like a super clever way. Was not a joke. It just had a story that I need to hear that's behind it. And I have minimal experience with dating apps. But you tweeted something that you got asked by, I guess, a match on a dating app.
Yes.
About, I don't know, how to get into broadcasting or something like career advice via a dating app. So are you comfortable telling this story?
Oh, sure.
And how soon did this person ask you, like, was there any flirtation to begin with?
Was this the opening line?
It was not the opening line.
Okay, at least that's good.
So I got matched up with a young lady, and she works in Denver, Colorado.
Okay.
And
wow, throwing a wide net out there from Chicago.
Well, no, I was in Denver, Colorado.
Okay, gotcha.
And it was very interesting because she works for I think she works for the Rockies as like some kind of like in-game entertainment person or something like that in the business in some capacity. And we get matched up. And she's like, "Hey, are you in town for a game? Like, what's going on?" And like, very cute, very, very, seemed like very personable just based off the initial messages and things like that. And I was like, "Yeah, I'm here in town. What's going on with you?" Like, just basic dating app chit chat.
Human back and forth.
And I was like, all right, maybe this might be like, hey, you want to go grab a drink or something like that type of thing. And literally like 8 messages in, she's like, "So what do you do?" And I'm like, and that's a typical question to ask as well. I'm in town. I'm a broadcaster. I happen to be calling this game. And she goes, "So," and it's dot. And I'm like, all right, so she's writing something out. It is like a paragraph in a dating app of just,
which seems even longer on a phone. And you got to keep...
I'm like, if I have to scroll to get
through
through the entire message, that is a long message. Mm-hmm. And essentially, it was what can I do to get into the industry? Like, blah. I'm like, that's it. I'm done.
Yeah.
So and I gave her the advice, by the way.
Sure.
Because at this point, all right, clearly, in the postscript, I think my tweet was, gotta respect the hustle.
Absolutely.
like so stupid.
Don't
I'm
hate
like,
the player.
it's like guy gets matched up with girl on dating app. Girl asks how to get into broadcasting. I put a sad face emoji, but gotta respect the hustle.
Gotta respect the hustle. I mean, she honestly could have just said, "Hey, is there a good email address to contact you on Twitter?
Are you on LinkedIn?"
Yeah. And like, can I get that LinkedIn?
That's incredible.
So Yeah, that's
So it
that
didn't
is
work.
the awkwardness. It didn't work out.
No.
It did not work out.
Surprisingly enough,
But
is
that's the only
awkwardness-
time, though,
That is
that
literally
is-
the awkwardness of my dating life.
Okay.
Like I have the weirdest dating life. It's impossible to have any consistency. Like, I mean, it's great. I'm in Tampa now. I'm going straight to Fayetteville, Arkansas. Then I go to Cincinnati. Then, like it's just hard to find the time, and it's.
I will
very odd.
say, with love being so digital, 2017, Ty, if you do a job that's on camera, like I do, like Adam does, and you have been on camera a lot, obviously, there is very little mystery when somebody starts stalking you, like when they start dating you. So it's not like you can. It's so
your
like,
life's out there, basically.
Your life
for the
is
for the
out
most
there.
part. Your personality is out there. Like, and I take pride in that. Like, I take pride in being like good at my job, and that's me at my best. Like the three of us, I know how hard you guys work at this and every other endeavor that you guys are involved in, and that's you at your best, essentially. Like I put so much work into all of the projects that I do. I want people to see me like that. That's me at my best. But how do you handle the worst of it all? You know what I mean? Like it's an interesting dynamic for people who are in this business or on camera or have a job that requires their personality to be out there constantly.
There are weird conversations. Like I've had a conversation with my now fiance, but she said, she was talking to one of her friends. You're very easy to find, and you have a lot of Twitter followers. And I was like, I don't know how to respond to that. It's jokes about tacos.
Right.
Like you can go back and look at every single dumb thing I've ever said on Twitter.
God, there are so many dumb things I've
So-
said, and they're easily and readily
Very
available.
easily.
And the search feature on Twitter isn't good for that. It just
It's true.
It always tends to dig up the dirt.
Yeah.
That's
It's
gotten
true.
me a couple times. So
Yeah.
social media is not always the best friend.
You knew your now wife beforehand.
I did.
So
I did.
You're fortunate.
And
I had
she-
a lot of weird conversations.
Yeah, no, I haven't necessarily gone there with it, but
Right.
she is aware of it. Like
Yeah.
if she wanted to dig something up on me, she could in a heartbeat. because
All right. So what is
Just there.
2017 for Adam Amin?
It's been cool so far.
What's
obviously.
the plan?
It's,
What's moving forward?
the plan is to keep doing this. I mean, honestly,
Okay.
like it's a fun time. I mean, working every sport and being able to cover everything you get to cover. I mean, what am I getting? I'm the luckiest dude.
complain. Of course.
This is so. I mean, this is so cool.
What
This
is what
the
is?
greatest
Are
thing
you
ever.
doing basketball in the spring?
College basketball, NBA. We'll move over to Major League Baseball once the season starts. We'll do.
Wow.
I still do college softball. Like
great.
What's your
College
favorite?
World Series? I can't say for sure. Like baseball is like the sport I grew up on. That's the fan in me is a huge baseball fan. But as a broadcaster, honestly, like it's the job that gets me excited.
let me frame it like this: what's the hardest?
The most difficult. Yeah.
I would say it's probably football.
Yeah.
The preparation level is so high. So many
Fast-paced.
players, the pace of it. I mean, there's so many variables in a football game, and where you might take a broadcast, you have no clue. Basketball, it's so much more self-contained. Like, here's a 4-minute segment. Here's a 4-minute segment. Here's 5 minutes of play. All right, it's late in the game. It's close. Let's focus on the game. But you can manipulate it a lot more. Baseball, there's a lot of time where you can inject things, explore. You can converse about various subjects. But with football, it is a dictated pace. It is a dictated game. It is difficult to really I have so much respect for TV football producers are some of the smartest
I've
people.
been in
the
a truck
business.
and it is like a chaotic symphony.
Yeah,
It is
that
crazy.
is a beautiful way to describe it. It's a chaotic symphony. The guys the guys and women in this business that make that happen, to make it look as good as they do, incredible to me.
I feel like we're on a great first date with Adam Amin. I feel like that's what's happening, right? We've gotten to know him. We know him professionally. We know him personally a little bit. We know about his fast food tastes.
Yep.
Now, so to avoid a future situation with a young lady perhaps hustling a little bit too hard on a dating app, what was your path? What has worked for you professionally to get to a very impressive point you're pretty young, all things considered.
Yeah.
The people that are doing your job in this industry are generally older.
Yeah,
So what has been
I
your
would say
path after Valparaiso, is where you went to school?
Yep.
So now that all the young ladies, all the potential suitresses, is that a word?
Is that a word?
All
That's
the
a
single
great
ladies,
word.
all the
I hope
si- yeah.
so.
All the suitresses? That
Because-
is phenomenal.
because
or
Adam-
suitorettes?
Suiterettes? I don't know.
Does that work?
He's clearly a prize tie. So what is that path so that they can skip trying to get that information out of you and just know you as a person?
Yeah. See, this is well framed.
Yeah,
Deep
thank
cuts.
Oh my God, the deepest of cuts.
I do try.
This is B-side
what I
stuff.
do,
This
Ty.
is B-side right now. This is Rubber Soul we're talking about on the B-side.
What is the path?
Yeah, I would say for me it was going to a small town, working a couple of radio stations that were in a town of 3,000 people and learning how to be on air. Like I'd been on air a ton in college, but you get to these jobs. It's a very niche audience, very small, but they're the ones who listen. They care. They care about the content. And being
So which
on
towns
air,
were you?
It was Spirit Lake, Iowa.
Okay.
That was my first full-time job out of college, and you're on air 4 times a day for Sportscast, and then you're doing basketball and football and wrestling matches and things like that. You're on the air all the time. It's a lot of reps. Then I went to Central New Jersey. You do a minor league baseball job there. You're on air 140 times in 150 days. It's impossible to duplicate that amount of repetition. That's the way you learn how to do this stuff. And then it was doing freelance TV, and it was meeting the right people, and it was trying to make good impressions. And really, it's not a science by any means, but you kind of take everything for what it's worth, and you try to do the best you can at it, and try to make sure the people around you appreciate it. And
So what was your first was ESPN your first national spotlight job? So what was your first responsibility at ESPN?
I worked the HBCU college football package on ESPNU, tape delayed, 10:30 Eastern time at night.
Whoa.
Jay Walker and I did that package together. I did a couple of live games with David Diaz-Infantes. It was the WAC when the WAC still existed.
Yep.
So it was
Yeah.
And it was a couple BYU games, and then Fresno State was in the WAC at that time, Nevada, Hawaii.
How old were you at this time?
I was 24 when I got
That's
hired.
incredible.
Wow.
So it's been 6 years since I've started at ESPN.
Wow.
And doing college softball and college volleyball, college basketball, doing the high school basketball stuff with all the recruiting. I did a couple of years of high school football at ESPN. So I really didn't know how to call football either.
Right.
I didn't call much of it until I got to ESPN. I started calling the NFL when I was 25 on radio, which accelerated the learning process. You have to know the sport if you're going to call the NFL, and just getting reps for that accelerated the whole process.
Is there anyone that you try to emulate?
On the radio, it's Kevin Harlan.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he's one of the most descriptive radio announcers ever, and I've really taken that to heart. And on the TV side, I don't know if I emulate anybody. Maybe a Mike Tirico, just because I try to. I'm not a guy who came in knowing everything about it, but you learn as much as you can, and you try to take the intelligent man's approach to the game and try to accentuate that with your analysts and things like that. But you pick up a little bit from everybody. I've picked up stuff from Joe Tessitore and from Chris Fowler and the Brad Nesslers of the world and Brent and everybody that's in front of you. You're constantly watching and going, I like that. That doesn't fit with me. Maybe I can implement this. I can hear myself make that mistake. I should avoid that. You pick up stuff from everywhere. You're always kind of pinching. You're sampling constantly.
The danger with that, I would imagine, is that you have a tendency to either A, overthink it, or B, edit yourself.
Yes.
How do you avoid falling into that trap?
I think, again, the reps helped. The fact that I've gotten a chance to do so many games, you learn your voice. You guys know my humor because we all tweet at each other all the time and we have a good time with it. I finally feel comfortable injecting that a little bit. I finally feel comfortable being a little bit more of myself on the air than maybe I ever have. And it took 5 years to get there.
Yeah.
It takes that long. And I'm a guy who does 80, 90, 100, 115, 120 games a year nationally. And it still took that long for me. And it's the 10,000 hour rule for me. I had to do all this stuff to even feel comfortable doing it. And
I've watched old footage of myself, so I didn't go the TV route. I started on the internet, so I got a job at SI.com when I was 24, so roughly the same age. But I was one man banding it when I was going to football games and stuff like that. And I guess the good thing with TV is once you've done a broadcast on a local TV station or a minor league it's gone forever. Nobody can ever dig that up. It is very easy to find some very poor broadcasting and videos that I've done.
Oh yeah.
So
I mean, I still have tapes of my first radio broadcast. I have the tape of my first football game, and I cringe.
Yeah,
I've gone back maybe once or twice in the last few years, and I'll be like, let's pop this in for old time's sake and see what it looked like and see what it sounded like. And
I have one final question. We're gonna let him get lunch, interact, glad hand, whatever. So there is a possibility that, and it won't be fully in my hands, I'm gonna have to move to Chicago. My fiance is from there,
right?
And I'm a soft Southern Californian who is accelerating and sort of intensely exploring all of my geographical options to perhaps not make this so. Convince me that it might not be so bad.
And I'll preface it
live
by
in
saying
Chicago.
this. Every time he mentions Chicago, it's all about the weather. I think he loves the city. It's
I
about
love
the
the
weather.
city. I like the people. I love the food. I love you can get around really
Of
easily.
course.
But she until this year did not even let me visit between November and March. She just did not want me to see it.
Right.
So convince me that it's workable.
Food in the wintertime tastes better in Chicago. Hot food, great restaurants. The food is just better in the wintertime.
Okay.
I think that's important to know. Especially for somebody like you who loves food the way you do, you love exploring restaurants, you will appreciate going to get a hot, good meal. Ramen-san, one of my favorite places in the city, Japanese ramen place. Went there the other night, freezing cold. We walk inside, hot bowl of ramen in front of you.
It's
Awesome.
true. I mean, I live in New York now, so like I am familiar with like food, but like the difference in Chicago is kind of crazy. Like
No, and I agree with that. And again, 8 months out of the year, as far as I'm concerned, best city in the country.
wonderful place.
And in the summertime, I don't think you can beat it.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are those couple of stretches of time where it's just not, I mean, it's brutal. You look good in jackets. That's always good.
I do look pretty good in
Important.
jackets, Ty.
You got a good, 6'1" frame over here.
Can
Buy
wear
it-
anything
buy
off the rack.
Buy it off the rack,
Yeah,
man.
off the
You
rack.
look
Talking
great.
about here.
Are you in the city or are you
I'm
outside?
right in the heart of the city.
Which I was going to say, what's your address? Tell me your address.
Can I come over
Tell me
for
the cross
biscuits?
streets.
Do you have a
and-
favorite neighborhood? And I really liked like the Wicker Park, Bucktown
Wicker Park
area.
might be the best.
it's-
I mean, the restaurants there are fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, River North is great for like the trendy, hip
Right.
restaurants.
Sure.
And then Wicker Park is great for like dive bars.
It felt more New Yorky to me.
It
too.
is, yeah. I would say that like that's to me like that's Brooklyn.
Okay.
Like Wicker Park to me is like kind of like Brooklyn.
Okay.
Like
I like
it's
that's where I live
trendier.
now.
Like
Yeah.
Manhattan is like downtown for Chicago. Like
Okay.
that's kind of how I would equate those two things.
Okay. So Adam Amin, of course, I think the broadcaster of the Solid Verbal, the ESPN. The
He's going to be an
play-by-play.
internet legend by the time we get done with him.
Absolutely. So when he's hosting the Oscars, we're getting in. Like that's just how it's going to
Potentially.
be.
I think you get like 5 passes for the Oscars if you host the Oscars.
He's gonna waste
that is the most made up thing I've said on this podcast. I don't know. Like how do you determine that is the most like non sequitur thing I got to come up with
Sure.
just then.
I appreciate
But
it.
you'll be in if and when
Done.
Grammys, and then you guys are like, nah, it's okay. I don't want to Grammy.
Latin Grammys?
remember like the Simpsons used to like rip on the Grammys all the time.
Of course.
I got this Grammy, and then he tosses it away. Like, why do they rip on the Grammys so much?
They rip on the greatest. They rip on the Grammys. They rip on the sister schools in the Northeast.
Yes.
Like Vassar, Williams. Like they just find the greatest things that nobody
Not
thinks about.
Vassar, yeah.
So Adam Amin, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
And
You guys,
can't wait to have you back.
The best. I love it.
All right. Again, that was our interview with Adam Amin from ESPN. Hope you enjoyed it. We will be back 1 week from tonight talking about all things National Signing Day. In the meantime, if you like the show, give us a holler at solidverbal@gmail.com. We're also on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, and on Snapchat. If you like the show, don't forget to tell your friends about the Solid Verbal. You can subscribe at itunes.com/solidverbal. For myself, Ty Hildebrandt, for Dan Rubenstein way down south, we'll catch y'all in a week. Stay solid.